thirdly, grace means we can choose to follow God's plan. Look at verse 14. It says, the Lord told Noah, make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark. Put inside and outside, pitch on it. By the word pitch in verse 14 is the word everywhere else in the whole Bible translated atonement. It's the Hebrew word kafar. Do you know what atonement is? It's a covering. It's a propitious covering. And what Noah did is he put this covering that kept the water out and the people safe inside. And that's what atonement does. Keeps the wrath, water pictured wrath. But you can read it. Verse 15, and you shall make the length of the ark. Da-da-da-da-da-da. You know what? Grace means we can choose to follow God's plan. Now look at this. Noah did what no one else had ever done. Did you know you're living in a generation, especially you younger people here, where hardly anybody makes it to the marriage altar without having messed around with fornication of some form? You know, either Bill Clinton, I didn't do it. You can redefine it to the point where you can do almost anything, but not it, whatever it is. Did you know that statistically, Barnett and Gallup have found that unsaved people are just as likely to commit fornication as saved people? I mean, you know how everybody is in college, they say. You know what? Noah followed God's plan even if no one else had ever done it. It's amazing to think of actually saying no to sin. And saying, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to see how close I can get to the edge without going over the edge. Do you remember Henry Ford? When they used to make cars in Michigan, he was very wealthy. And he used to have chauffeurs. And he would interview them. You know what he'd do? He'd take them out to this place where there was a little drop-off, and he'd say, I'm going to stand here. I want to see how close you can get to the edge with my car. And boy, those guys, they would drive with the tire on the edge. Others would drive with the tire just over the edge. They were showing off how well they could drive on the edge. And finally, one of them would drive, a few feet away from the edge. He'd say, I just can never get any closer than that. Guess which one he hired? Do you know what a lot of Christians do? They say, I'm under grace. I'm forgiven. I'm trying not. I'm trying. And they just live their life on the edge. And they feel horrible. They're going back and forth between sinning intentionally and feeling horrible about it. You know what God says? Why don't you just say, my grace can keep you from the edge. And it can. We can't. In our own strength, we can't say no to sin. God's grace is sufficient. And I'm able to make, God said, all grace abound toward you so that you are in all ways be graced by my grace. God can and is able, Paul said, 2 Corinthians chapter 7.